problem. Would you agree with me that if all the good Muslims, and I think they overwhelm the bad Muslims, okay, would cooperate with the West, with the United States and NATO and other countries, that we wouldn't have a terrorist problem? For example, if Pakistan would cooperate with the United States, we wouldn't have the Taliban problem in Afghanistan. We would defeat them.
That would all be great if that's how it worked.
But that's how it works.
But it isn't how it works, because if you recall, think of it this way, that crazy gentleman, I take that back because that's rude. The gentleman that said he was going to burn the Koran, that got played all around the world.
You mean the nut down in Florida?
I'm not going to say that.
Okay, I will. But that you're diverting the attention.
No, I'm not. Listen to my point.
All right, go ahead.
So all the people who are watching around the world saying, boy, America feels like that's how Americans
but
feel.
I disagree with that. I don't think Muslims think that everybody's like that crazy guy. I don't believe that. But let's get back to Pakistan. But Pakistan, if they would help us, we could win that.
Bill, do you think that the people in Pakistan, the people who live in Pakistan, the poor people, the people who don't have any say, you think they don't want help to help the West?
A lot of them don't.
How do you know that?
Do you know what a madrasa is?
No, I don't.
Okay, madrasa is a school that teaches Islamic jihad. And there are madrasas all over the Muslim world. They teach 4- and 5-year-old kids to hate people.
Bill, that may be true.
It is true.
It may be true. I can't prove it. You've clearly been to them, and I will take your word for it. But that does not change the fact that when you paint all Muslims with one brush, it's bad.
Not painting all Muslims with one brush. But
when you say Muslims killed us, when you don't specify, it's like saying, whenever I see black men coming down the street, I'm scared.
Did you have a problem?
That's the same.
Do you have a problem in history when you were taught about World War II that Japanese attacked us? Do you have a problem with that?
I have a problem with that.
You do?
Yeah.
But they attacked us.
The Japanese
attacked us.
Army attacked us.
The Air Force did.
Sorry.
All right.
The Air Force did. You understand my point?
No, I don't.
You don't.
Because I think you're cutting the hair so thin. We have a Muslim problem in the world in the sense that 90% of the population of the terrorism comes out of that area.
You know what? But what do you mean 90% of the terrorists come from everywhere?
No,
they're white people.
Predominantly they are Muslim.
Right now.
Right. That's what we're talking about.
Right now, everybody can say the Muslims are the terrorists. 2 years ago, it was the white people that were the terrorists.
What white people?
Oh, wasn't it white people that blew up?
Yeah, two of them. Two of them.
Oh, and what about all the folks that are up in
It's like saying crime is white.
We disagree.
All right,
we disagree on this.
But I just want to be clear.
It's okay. And
we have to have these discussions.
We must have these discussions.
But I just want to be clear, and I'll give you the last word on this, and then we'll get to your book.
Okay.
I believe there is a Muslim problem in the world. Okay. And that's what I was trying to get across to you guys on The View. That 70% of Americans believe the way I do. And they thought it was inappropriate to make a Muslim community center that close to ground zero. That was my point.
I understood your point. What I did not understand, and I will just reiterate it again, because
I just left out the word terrorist.
Yes, because in this day and age when kids are getting their butts kicked because they're Muslim,
not so much.
Bill, are you kidding me?
New study today, Jews in America are far more likely to be persecuted than Muslims. Just came out today.
You know what? I'm sure that someone believes that, but I believe that in neighborhoods where they don't want Muslims, they beat up kids.
No,
just
it
like
doesn't
they don't
happen
want
much,
to get,
Miss Goldberg. And it would be
what is this bullshit about Miss Goldberg? Stop that, Bill.
Okay.
Just
it doesn't happen much, but I take your point that you don't want any group singled out.
Thank you. Okay. That's what I'm saying.
We take your point. All right, we'll have more with Whoopi in a moment.
Fear is useful. You know, like our ancestors, the ones who weren't afraid of snakes, did not reproduce.
What?
No, if they weren't afraid of snakes, if you weren't afraid of snakes, the snake would bite you, you would die, and then you wouldn't have a chance to have children.
That's why you're not on Fascinating People, because you make no sense.
But I think in the most fascinating way.
What are you going to accomplish, Stephen? What are you going to accomplish?
I'm trying to keep fear alive, because if John says we have to be all rational and sane, there are actually things out there to be afraid of, like bed bugs. Bed bugs.
I agree.
I'm terrified of them.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Likewise.
Movie theaters, I hear they're on the couch on The View.
No, they're
Yeah, that's why Whoopi and Joy jumped up the other day to get away from the bed bugs, I think.
I think it was a... Never mind.
You weren't being rude to Bill. You were just trying to get away from the infestation.
I wasn't being rude to anybody. I
think you were. No. I think you were being rude to Bill. I really do.
Do you think that Whoopi was rude to Bill?
Here's you are, Bill.
You called him Papa Bear. Why?
Because, like a bear, he's huge and could tear your head off.
Honestly, your honest opinion about what went.
Well, because I'm on your show, I agree with Whoopi. I think there should be mosques everywhere. I think this would make a good mosque. The studio would make a lovely mosque. We're facing east, aren't we?
If he had even made that much sense, I would have probably been able to handle him.
Bill's talking about emotion. Bill was not talking about what the facts were. Bill was talking about what felt right.
Right.
And it feels wrong. That's what rally's about.
Right
it feels wrong.
But isn't it right for me to
get up?
I am leaving right now. Forget it. I would like to apologize. That was rude. That was rude of me.
Apologize to yourself.
I'm going to change the subject because...
I would love that.
Okay. You know, Homer Simpson, we have now known as a Catholic, and you're Catholic.
I am a Catholic.
It's very much a part of your life. Your father, you were one of 11 children.
I'm one of 11. Jimmy, Eddie, Mary, Billy, Margaret, Tommy, Jay, Lulu, Paul, Peter, and Stephen.
I'm very impressed. But
I hope that applause is for my mother's womb.
But your father and two of your siblings.
What?
Your father and two of your siblings were killed in an automobile accident.
A plane crash, actually.
Plane crash. And your amazing mother then raised you all 9 kids. Mm-hmm. How did she do it?
She has very strong faith. She taught us to still love life and not be bitter, and to realize that everybody suffers, and if you can accept your suffering, then you'll just understand other people better. Mm-hmm. And strangely enough, you have to be grateful for pain.
Was she funny?
Hilarious. She still is. She's 90. She turns 90 in 1 month.
Can we say hello?
Right. They're like, when can I vote? That's totally different.
That's very good.
Yeah.
I was curious all weekend if anyone who didn't already support the cause had their minds changed. Was there any NRA members, pro-gun people who were watching? And I watched because I knew we would talk about it. And there were a lot of comments coming out specifically from David Hogg that I don't...
Who's he?
He's one of the big kids, yeah. But one thing I will say is that you don't move the narrative when you use language like this. And he said, it just makes me think what sick blankers out there want to continue to sell more guns, murder more children, and honestly just get reelected. What type of blanking person does that? They could have blood from children splattered all over their faces and they don't take action because all they see is dollar signs. There's another kid, Kyle Kashuv, I believe his name is, who is the Second Amendment pro supporter that also was a Parkland student who's been meeting with so many politicians, including Vice President Pence twice, the President of the United States, and congressmen and senators across the country. And I just think, I wish we could have it where the rhetoric isn't any of us could have blood splattered on our faces and your life perspective wouldn't be changed. And I don't think it's productive. I don't think language like that...
What if he feels that way? I mean, I too was surprised at the language that I heard from politicians, the language that I heard from Rick Santorum, who basically said, things that were inappropriate. Actually, the NRA spokeswoman said, if you're too immature to carry a firearm, you're too immature to make policy about firearms.
Well, here's the thing.
Who is she listening to?
Here's the thing. These kids are not going to take it. They're sick of waiting for the adults to do it. They're letting you know. And whether they're cussing you out, or speaking beautifully, doesn't matter. They're not willing to take this anymore. And the same way that you want us to understand, you want them to understand why you have the right to have your guns. You want them to understand why you feel the way you feel. You can't denigrate the way they feel, because they feel like you've not been responsible out there for them,
because they keep getting shot up in school. So there's something there that we all have to sort of take a beat on and hear what they're saying, because they're not kidding. This is not going anywhere.
I think they realize that civilized language, they realize that the civilized language has been on deaf ears.
It's not just about that. He was complaining about the First Amendment rights being infringed upon because there's talk of making kids wear clear backpacks to school, and he said that would be an infringement on privacy. He's complaining about First and Fourth Amendment rights being infringed upon, where it's unfathomable for those of us to have a conversation about our Second Amendment rights being infringed upon. So I just think that there's a lot of rhetoric coming out, and for me, I didn't see a lot of meeting in the middle. I found both sides going to their corners.
Bigger than all of that.
Yeah.